Okay, we're gonna attack Windows with a browser payload. So first thing we want to do is check our IP address with an IP config. And it looks like we're 216. Yeah, it looks like we're 216. Okay. Now we want to put our flag out there, so we'll put copy con. We'll call this payloads.txt. And I think I already have it out there, so I'm just going to type payloads. Yeah. Okay, so there's our payloads we're going to be working with. And we're just going to be doing the first one here. But I want you to see that under Windows there's several, under Java, under Linux, under OS 10. If you're trying to payload attack, these aren't all that you should be aware of, but these are a good starting place. So depending on which operating system you're going to use and things like that. So I think we got everything we need. Let's go ahead and head over to Kali. So let's go ahead, we'll go over and start Armitage. So we'll go to Exploitation Tools, Network Exploitation, Armitage. Now again, don't worry, we're going to get some error messages, but that's okay. A lot of times students ask me about, which is better. Now, when you, as opposed to their network setting, a NAT setting or a bridge setting. And by default, Kali starts out with a NAT type addressing selected for the VM's network interface card. And you go ahead and set it up, and you can come back and change it later if you're having trouble with this. But basically, you're going to want to set your networks up with a bridge setting. And in order to do a bridge setting, you have to actually either select it on startup, or if you're going back, you have to actually close, not suspend, close the virtual machine. So what's the difference? Well, like on this, if I clicked on this pause, that would just suspend and would save the state. Now, if I wanted to actually close Linux, I could do a command line, which would just be shutdown dash halt now. So, or I could come over here to let's see, System Tools, Administration. I can't get down here and see all the thing. You can do it. You could do it on the GUI, or you could do it from a command line. Let's see. Yeah. Usually it's at the bottom of the first menu. I usually shut off from the command line. You could also, when you're shutting down too, you could just hit the little drop down arrow by pause and shut down guest. So when you do that, the reason you want to do that and not suspend is usually you'll want to suspend because that way your computer won't have to reboot and stuff like that, or the virtual machine won't have to reboot. But when you want to change settings, though, you have to shut down because it can't change settings when the VM is paused. Okay. So okay, let's before we do anything, we'll import that host. And was that or wait, let's import host or add host. And so we'll go 192.168.1. I think it was 216. Did I write that down somewhere? Yeah, 216. Okay, we're going to do a little scan of this. So we'll go back to host, nmap scan, quick scan OS detect. And note that it doesn't have anything there. Well, the reason it doesn't have anything is we didn't select the host we wanted to scan. So now if we go host, nmap scan, and quick scan OS detect, which is what we want, it'll already be populated with the destination host. Okay, so let's go ahead and we'll go under Payload, Windows. Here we'll go under Meta Interpreter, and then we'll go down to Reverse TCP. Okay, the first thing we're going to do is we're going to generate an exe. And this is what we want the target host, or the machine we're targeting, to execute this. So how do you do that? Well, we're going to use a browser exploit. But obviously, if you're doing this as a pen test, you're going to want to use a little stuff. So you might, send an email out from the CEO and say, hey, register for our our company vacation to Hawaii. Go to this website or something like that. To win a free sponsored trip to Hawaii, go fill out this, go to this web server and fill out the form, or something like that. Or but you don't have to do that. You could take this exe. We're gonna host it up on a web server so that our victim can get to it. Now, how would you do that in real life? Well, a way a lot of hackers are doing that is they rent a little bit of space on Amazon Elastic Cloud, and then they set up a server. And when they're on site or something like that, you can go over to Amazon, turn on your server when you get to run this attack. But it doesn't cost much that way, like $1 or $2, and that way you don't have to maintain a web server and things like that. Makes it a lot easier. And the other thing is too, you could upload. It's very easy to upload your your stuff to your web server when you're on site. Like, okay, I want to upload this attack or that attack or this application vulnerability or what. So that's this is going to output an exe, which is what we want our client to execute. So we'll call this one backdoor. Okay. So now we want to set up the handler. We're going to use the same payload, but instead of exe, we're going to set up a multi-handler. And again, we want to use the exact same port there. I think I used 1, 2, 3, 4, so if we didn't, we'll soon know. We may have to go back and redo it, but I think it's 1, 2, 3, 4. Now this is going to launch another console, so if we hit launch, see, there it is. Now you can't really see the bottom of it, but just take my word for it. It shows the command line waiting. Okay, now it's time to execute it, so we're going to go back over to our target machine, and we're going to launch our Internet Explorer. What was that one? What was that IP? It was 192. Oh no! Let's not run when that first thing comes up, because sometimes IE when you haven't totally patched is a little unstable. So I was going to say let's not run Java. So we'll select no on that, see if that gives us more stability. Usually that was saying something a little different, but usually you get something like you want to run Java, which is going to make your machine just be a total dog. So we'll go ahead and run this. Now again, if this was from your CEO, this link was from your CEO saying, be sure and check out the new personnel policies. You got to check it out because it's going to affect your job. You wouldn't call it backdoor. So, okay, so something's happening there. Well, that was a quick exploit, wasn't it? Okay, so let's go ahead. We'll right-click here. We'll go to our Met Interpreter, Interact, Command Shell, and there's our command shell, which you cannot see. Let me see. Let me see if there's any way to resize this so I get it in the field of view here. Nope, nope, nope. And shame on me for trying. Okay, so I'm going to hit CD space. Oh, there we go. Yeah. So you can see it after I do it. So I can just use the up arrow to do this now. Okay, so we're pretty sure, hopefully, that that's in there. So we'll do a type, payloads, .exe, .text, silly. There it is. Okay. So that was good. Okay, that went a little quicker than I thought. And again, remember, some of you have been asking me like, oh, how would you get them to disable the firewall? Well, most of the time you're doing it on a test machine, so you just do it yourself. But if you're doing it on a network where you're supposed to be pen tested, call up the user and say, turn off your firewall. Okay? If it's supposed to be stealthy, you may have to trick them into doing it. But there's other hacks. The point is there's other hacks. Like this one wouldn't have been a bad one to set up the way I said, with an attachment or a link from the CEO saying, get over there and look at this PDF. Now how would you make it seem like a PDF that would open with the PDF? Well, I'm glad you asked that, because if you go under File, Start, Search, there's a program called iExpress. And this lets you actually set up executables. And so one of the first ones would be maybe, personnel policies, right? Or something like that. So you create them and you combine them, and when the user gets them, it looks like an executable called personnel policies. So did I say an executable? It's actually looks like a PDF. So we'll keep, and the PDF will open, and whatever you combine this exe with will open, and it will look like as you're clicking OK and OK, run this program and stuff. You won't see the backdoor being executed, but you will see the PDF come up. So that's the beauty of a little tool like this one. It's just you type start, search, iExpress. You don't have to put the 2 in. And don't worry, we'll get into other stuff too. So this is just real basic stuff. So, okay, what I want to do now is, since we got a little extra time, we're going to go ahead and look at Metasploitable, and we're actually going to use a tool that will run on our host machine, and we're going to use Wireshark on our host machine. Okay, so what I did here, I've been pinging and doing different stuff, but what I really wanted to do is check the fconfig. And so there it is. I see it's at 73. And okay, so we're going to go ahead and start up Wireshark, and then we're going to scan it with our other virtual machine. So as that starts up, yeah, let's go ahead and just get capture. Interfaces is a good way to go because it'll tell you what the active ones are. Oh, holy tamale. I have a bunch of active ones. Okay. And that, that's kind of, usually it won't be like that, but I got a bunch of virtual adapters and stuff. So I'm going to get fancy and I'm going to click capture on all interfaces and then start. And we don't have to watch this or anything. We'll go back to it later. But for now, we're going to go back to Kali and we're going to add host 192.168.1.73. Is that right? I have it written down here somewhere. Let me go through. Yeah, 73. Okay. Okay, why does it look like that? Because I have them stacked. If I put them circle, if there's a bunch of them, they show up in a circle. It says I only have two, it just kind of throws them on there. Okay, so this is the one we're going to scan. We're going to just, believe it or not, for the first time ever, no, just kidding. We always do this scan. Quick scan OS detect. It's a scan we always do. Okay, there it goes. And so that should be scanning. And so, yeah, I mean, don't freak out that some of these require more to do than you'd like to. You want to do it stealthy or something like that, and you have to have firewall down or something like that. I swear to you that there might be a time when you can call clients up and say, take your firewall down. If that's the case, do it that way. But if not, you might, like these payloads, they don't seem very stealthy, but remember, you got to use social engineering, which, as one of my students pointed out in a recent assignment, which is just another way of saying lying. You've got to social engineer. You got to lie. So, and there's different ways to lie. You call and say, hey, I'm testing your firewall off, or you could do what I said. Oh, check out the personnel policies. So, and oh, by the way, there's going to be if you don't know your personnel policy, you're going to be fired. So you check this out today. I don't know, but okay. So let's see if did I get a scan complete yet? Oh man, now even I'm having trouble seeing it. So, but I think it is complete. If not, it may move a little bit here. It's that last, I think, oh, wait, the very last part I could see. Because, see, the problem I'm having is the control sitting at the bottom of my screen. And if I enlarge it any, then it goes over the buttons you push to get your applications up, which is even worse. As it is now, because the way Armitage puts the command screen, it's right under the controls. So, but I could see underneath where you can't see off the screen where it says seconds. So I know it usually gives you scan completed in so many seconds. So I think we are done. But the thing I wanted to note here is just, look at these ports and services and stuff. And a lot of these are what you'd expect, FTP. Now remember, if you're actually setting up a firewall and you're using FTP, you're going to use port 20 and 21. 21 is the command and control port, and 20 is the actual data. Now, because there wasn't any data being transferred, it didn't see 20 on this. And so this is why Metasploitable is kind of vulnerable. It has all these services and stuff and these open ports. So SMTP, which would be an email server, Telnet, which is remote command line, sort of like what we're using with MetaInterpreter. Port 80 is a classic Apache port. What's this 111? This actually is an important one, and it's kind of sort of like Windows is a remote procedure call, and you'd see ports 137 through 9 and 445 on a Windows network for file sharing and things like that. This is the kind of like the Linux equivalent, port 111. Here it's called our remote procedure call bind, but it goes by some other names too, like port bind. Well, I guess that is sort of the same. But this is RPC bind. So okay, Samba, which is like a file sharing service. Network file system, which allows you to navigate throughout the network if you have permissions. Okay, what about this? 2121 FTP. That's like crazy or something. Yeah, it's just has a FTP running on a non-standard port there. And there might be reasons you want to do that. There might be a good reason why that's there. VNC, that's like a remote desktop. Postgres, that's a database. MySQL is a database. This is a trivial FTP. You know what this is, and we're talking about the non-standard port. It's just a real quick way that you can, and they have this for Windows too, you could just double click and you have a FTP server running, and it's very easy to change the ports and stuff. Trivial file transport protocol. Instead of just FTP, it's TFTP. Okay, so that's kind of what I wanted to show you. And, you know, the great thing about this tool is it gets you really familiar with all this stuff. I mean, it's really easy to see, for instance, when you do that that nmap scan, what the ports are, if they're UDP or TDP, and the service associated with it. So it might not be quite as graphically oriented as what you're used to reading at a command line, but still take advantage of the command line. So, okay, I'm going to switch over to Wireshark. We can go ahead and capture stop. So, what did I want to show you about Wireshark? Well, I don't really remember, actually. But one thing is you can do IP address. And we were using 192.168. I wanted to show you some basic filters and things to look for that scan. I knew there was a reason, see? Okay, so we'll hit apply here. And that should show us the scan. Now you notice most of it occurred in DNS. Usually there's a browser in here too. I'm surprised there's not. But it could be I had it up before in the background, so that's why. But usually when something like this starts out, it'll send out a browser to kind of get established with that attack machine as it runs a scan. So you can just do IP address, or you could do source IP, which would be the source IP. And you can go through here and look at these and see what they're checking for. Now, since this is in Windows, I can resize it a little bit here. And actually, you have the updated tools will give you more control. I'm complaining about how I can't resize as much as I'd like, and if I updated the my best idea for troubleshooting that would be make sure the VMware tools that I'm running is up to date, because it gives you a little more control over things exactly like that, like resizing and things like that, and focus of the mouse. So, okay, you can go through here and see these. And it was querying from IN RAPA. You guys recognize the organization that hands out IP addresses. So you can go into the headers and things like that, the Ethernet, and then the frame, which is always at the top of these. And that gives you just kind of the basic overview, kind of like when you look at the top window in Wireshark. Now normally, why has it got a pink, oh, looks like I screwed up the filter, no wonder. So I could also do IP of the source, and that's kind of unusual for filters, how that usually it would be IP ADDR dot source, but because it's IP address and it's commonly used, they made a shortcut for it. So now it would be interesting to see the packets going back, so we can see the packets going or the packets coming back. So these are the packets coming back. NetBIOS naming service, and again, this NetBIOS naming service is kind of like if you hit the network neighborhood on the desktop, and you can click it and then go do some other things, and then go back, and that it's kind of like has a history of what was in the network. That and browser, NetBIOS naming service and browser, two things that kind of keep that functionality going for you. Okay, well, we're way over time here, and my dog sounds like he wants to go out. So we're gonna, this is really just a basic thing with Wireshark, and we're gonna go a lot. We're gonna do a special thing on just Wireshark. So don't be thinking that that we're not going to spend more time with Wireshark, because it's an important tool. What I wanted to demonstrate though today was the services and using the command line to look at how your scans go against Metasploitable, and also some real basic filtering techniques for Wireshark, which we'll get more into. And thanks for watching this.